Welcome to Interior Design Diaries. Today I'm talking to Dana and we're undergoing an extensive remodel right now. And I am helping her with her decision fatigue and this great overwhelming project. Let's chat with her. Come on. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Lindsay.
This is so fun. Thank you for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
Let's chat about your house.
Oh my goodness. Your house or my sticks?
Okay, so the main premise for your house was, do we stay or do we go?
Correct.
So when I think of helping you guys design, there is so many things to design.
Yeah.
So many things to think about, so many things and choices and the way you live. And your house is very custom, tailor-made, specific to you guys, your needs, your wants, and all four of you, really. I mean, you're doing it exactly how you want it, which is amazing. And quite honestly, how every house I design should be, right? It's what I strive for, to get your house to be yours.
Yeah.
You know, so your friends and family walk in and say, oh my gosh, this is Dana and Eric's house. And, oh, look at this. And look at that. Oh gosh, this is so you, not so Lindsay. So it's exciting for me to help you to do that. But with that process becomes design fatigue.
Yes.
So as we make these choices, tell me a little bit about your experience throughout the design.
So we had you do the master suite last year, or maybe I think it was a year ago.
Was it a year ago?
We finished it summer 2 years ago. I don't even know.
Time is a thief.
It's a crazy thing. Yeah. But it took you a little bit of time, but we did the master suite and it turned out beautiful. So design fatigue, goodness. That one wasn't as bad because we weren't removing walls.
Right.
We were kind of just retiling, giving it a fresh face, doing the floors, wood floors, and
cosmetic
some paint,
facelift.
Cosmetic, yeah. So it wasn't too bad. You know, we had to pick out some stuff, but it wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
So the design fatigue is setting in definitely on the lower part of the house, which is the main part of the house.
The rest of the house.
The rest of the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is a complete and total gut. Close to, if not just the kids' bedrooms not being gutted, but all of their bathrooms, everything has been gutted. And, opening up of the ceilings, finding out what kind of, this is a 1950s home with a remodel from the early 2000s.
Right.
So we have two different little pieces. And so fatigue is definitely starting to set in that, how does this window, how do these sliding glass doors go in and where do we put them? And every time we pull something off, we find a new decision to be made. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because you're doing this for the long term, it's your family home.
Yes.
This is your community.
Yeah.
It's painstaking and it's emotional.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
And you were lucky enough to move out.
Yes.
And so that's a huge, huge help, right? I mean, could you imagine?
No, my husband laughs. I think he says, Lindsay was laughing when you said you thought you could live through it with the kids and the master. Using a microwave to cook for a good year. Yeah, no.
You could have done it, but you don't. I mean, you're lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to move out.
Yeah.
Yes, for
definitely.
sure. Yes. Okay, so how has the process that I've given you and laid out helped you to be able to make choices and bite-sized chews?
It has been amazing. So, I mean, again, I always take it back to God puts the people in your lives that you need at the moment. And we'd interviewed a few other designers, and we didn't quite understand how the designer we didn't understand how everything went together. Like, do we need an architect first? Do we need this first or that first? And because it wasn't a ground up build, I think as we moved along, we realized it was a designer that was going to come in. And then we were also thinking an architect would have to go with it. And then we got lucky and we found you. We asked enough people that we liked in the housing business. We understood, and your dear friend Annie gave me your number, and it's been magic ever since. Like, we knew you were a fit day one.
It was easy. It was so easy. Oh, okay, this is going to be great. This is going to be fun.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
And for me, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And you're looking for someone to be able to truly learn you and know you and feel you, see you.
Yeah.
And be able to project that.
Yeah, you came in and you were like, I have it handled. Like, whatever, like soup to nuts. Like, that's the same.
Whatever you want. Or if you just want me to come for an hour.
Yes. Yeah.
Your choice.
Yeah. And you made it very easy. You came in with, quite a few designs and you said, look, it's like Frankenstein and you can pick this room and that room and put it with this and that. And you left us with your designs for a little while and let us kind of think over them. And we've come back to you many times on every single thing you've designed and kind of revamped it a little bit from where you've put it. And we've collaborated on every inch of it.
Did you think that would be part of the process when you were talking with others? Or was it a process where you didn't know what to expect?
I don't know if I knew what to expect, but I also am a person who doesn't put a lot of expectations on things.
Right.
I like to let things kind of flow and happen how they are supposed to happen organically.
Right.
Right. And you were very organic for me. My husband, he likes to have his little fingers in the pie a little bit more than I do. Yeah. And I feel like you're an expert in what you do. And I'm like, every time he asks me a question, I'm like, well, I don't know. Like he'll say, well, what about this? And what about that? And I'm like, and I'm over in the corner, literally texting me. I'm like, am I allowed to call Lindsay? And he's like, no, you have to have an opinion. I'm like, my opinion is Lindsay's really good. Like a lot of times I have my own ideas, but a lot of times I'm just like, I know she has a good eye for this. And so I rely on you a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to just meet someone and trust them.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for that first meeting for you to be like, okay, yes, I can work with you or no, I can't.
Yeah.
And no harm, no foul.
No.
It's a chemistry thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I used to tell Eric when you were first doing the upstairs and you were, in our house a lot, I'd be like, oh, I like her so much. I want to have her over for coffee.
Oh, that's so
I just want to sit and have cocktails with her. I'm like, do you think we can be friends after this?
We are friends. That's the goal. I mean, I want this to be fun for you because I know all of the things that are about to happen.
Yeah.
Like I kind of tell you too, like, okay, this may happen. You just had your water off.
Yeah.
Water hasn't come into the shower. It may back up. It may not. It may do this. It may not. But like, just be ready for it. So it's a non-issue.
Yeah.
I try to give you more.
Yeah.
And so as the process goes, it's not as
crazy
because there's so many things.
Yeah. You've kept us abreast. Like when we were doing the upstairs, I think you called it Twister. You called it
Trade Twister.
What Trade Twister? And there was a point in which you literally, I think, had 4 trades in our bedroom, which isn't the biggest space, all doing their thing at the same time. And magically, they all just did it, and it was good. But you kept us abreast of, and anytime there was a trade that maybe misbehaved a little in their, treatment of.
Right.
The
process or the flow or the people or whatever it might have been.
Yeah. We just call you and say, hey, Lindsay, like, this is what's going on. And you're like, I'm on it. We send you pictures sometimes of things that like need addressing and you're like, it's handled. It's just handled.
Because there's so many things.
Yeah.
And that's my service to you is making it so you don't have to deal with any of it. Yeah. And that's a lot of what you're paying for.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just more like, okay, she's going to design it. She's going to handle it. And I'm going to just let that happen.
Yes. Correct.
Because it's just, that's the value. Really. Totally. That's the hugest value.
Yeah.
Where you don't even have to pick dish towels. You don't even have to pick towels.
Yeah. You brought in towels for the.
Yeah. I think you were like, well, what color? Can I do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
What color should I do?
Yeah. Just you've done enough and they look beautiful. Like your work speaks for itself when you look at your design, your history. Like every space looks just beautiful. And, it's stamped for that person. You could tell it's not your style in every single house. You can tell that it's different. Like this person has this aesthetic that you've created, but it made it beautiful. Like every single piece. Sometimes I feel like I'm not allowing you to do enough of the like picking sometimes because I'm like, well, that house looks really pretty. I hope we're not.
No. I will help, I'll navigate you and say, okay, so if we're doing this, then what about this?
Yeah.
And then, you can make those choices because it is a collaboration.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I'm definitely not you're not coming to me going, Mother, may I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
That's just not how I roll. Okay. So in terms of making decisions, has it been easier for you to know, okay, go here, and go here?
Yeah, definitely. You gave us a choice in the beginning. You said, how do you want me to work? Do you want me to go pick everything out and then we're done? Or do you want me to grab a couple of items for you to take a look at and bring them? Or do you want to go shopping with me?
Yep.
And so I think we've done a little bit of
both.
A little bit of both. Not the total, no hands on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've brought us samples and we've taken a look at them. I think some of the bigger things like the tiles, I think you have to kind of go.
Yeah, you got to go look, touch,
got to go
feel.
look, touch, feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of the like hardware for the fixtures, you've just kind of brought in.
Yep.
You've asked us what we want. You push us a little
Yeah.
to get us out of our comfort zone. But we do have a comfort place where we like, and I think you respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you respect it. And you're like, okay, within these parameters, I can, push them a little bit, but
yeah,
get something.
And it's kind of like, I need to get you a little out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But then you tell me, hey, no, we're going to stay right here. And it's like, okay, that's great. But it's my job to make it look the best it can, given those parameters. And sometimes that's more fun.
Yes,
because it's easy for me to design something and they don't give me input.
Yeah.
And I could just, it's easy.
Yeah.
But this way we're actually like forming a relationship and I'm really getting to know the ins and outs of how you cook and how you live and what side of the bed you sleep on and all of the things that a lot of your friends don't know about you, that if you've been friends with them for 20 years.
That's true.
Yeah. It's an intimate relationship in a way where you're giving and taking and I'm giving and taking, and it's interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. Like, I mean, you're there when Eric and I are like kind of in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Just, that's that part of it is tough. And I think that as a designer, like you have to be in the middle of the chaos that goes on in the marriage. Yeah. In the house,
Yeah. I see it.
You see it. Yeah.
Yep.
Because the husband has his ideas too. And you have to also just manage the people in that process.
It's a lot of psychology.
A ton of psychology.
It's a ton. And it's been, as much as I'm helping you, you are helping me to see how relationships work. And it's really been, I mean, I love you. You guys are so great. And it's like, oh, those are their roles. Like she is so good at this and he's so good at this. And seeing the two of you interact and relate to each other, it's like, God, it's so cool to see a couple with like mutual respect and trust and you love each other. Yeah. Like I can tell. Yeah. But not a lot of people, I've been into a lot of houses. Yeah. It's really cool to watch the two of you work together. And, sometimes, it is what it is, like depending on the case. And you're like, oh gosh, okay, well, let's talk this through. And he's like, oh, okay, she wants this. And it's cute because the two of you are really going to the common goal of how are we going to make our house work so hard for us and be the best and prettiest it could be within your location.
Correct.
That's really been the real drive for you guys.
It's been, I mean, you see some of the better stuff, I think, between us.
No, you have never been. No, I think that's just part of what we do. And I think a lot of young designers don't realize that they're going to see a lot of that interaction.
Yeah. I mean, you're tearing apart the thing you love that you've raised your family in. Right. Especially, it's different if you're walking into a home that you just purchased and before you move in, you do a remodel. You don't have any heart in the game on that piece.
Right.
Whereas this one, there's heart there. We've raised our children and we know that we want to finish raising our children in this home. Mm-hmm. So it's like, there's, it has to be right. It has to. And there has to be that back and forth of, understanding. But you also have to know at the end of it, you're going home to sleep with that. Like you're going to be with that person. So you have to be, you can't go to war.
No.
Over it, even though you will. I mean, that's just, I'm not going to sugarcoat that one. Like,
it's hard. I mean, you're building, you there's a lot of inconveniences.
Yeah.
And there's in relationship. I mean, I think it's one of the most, besides finances, it's one of the most stressful things people get divorced about.
I can see people. Yeah. 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 And then halfway through, you're like, oh my gosh, what have we done? And you can't sell it at that point. Right. You're like, we have to finish it through. And once you finish it through, you're like, well, we might as well stay together and love this house we just built. Like, it's stressful.
Yes.
For sure.
Now, how was this experience different than your last house that you remodeled?
So the last house we remodeled, we took pictures out of magazines and then I actually designed it. I designed it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that much because it was a kitchen and a wall we had to remove. And I worked with a really good contractor that I loved. Mm-hmm. But it was more cabinetry, a wall removal, and just that kind of a thing. It wasn't really too crazy. Some, some floors and some tiling and counters and stuff.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've ever done down to the sticks?
Yes, down to the sticks.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, your floor is torn open. We're doing the whole thing.
Yeah. My concrete is completely gone. Like I have holes.
You have dirt in your bedrooms.
I do have dirt. My poor daughter's bedroom is so crazy.
I know.
It's gonna look so pretty though.
It's gonna be great.
I mean, we literally have It's the piles of dirt are
like 4 feet tall.
4 feet tall, like up to your hip.
Mm-hmm.
And there's what's it called? Copper pipes that have holes that I can fit my fist in. Cast iron. That I could fit my fist in. Meaning those were in my floors.
Yes.
Like we had to do this remodel. Like we were going to start leaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that we had to trench, the whole house is trenched.
Yeah.
And then when we first gutted it, not the trenching, like all of the wires and everything being held, all the beams that were cracking and trying to fall, like I mean, I have to give you and your team major props. Every person who walked into that house couldn't breathe when they watched what was going on, and they couldn't believe what we were doing. But we love this house enough to do it. Should we have scraped it? I don't know. That's a debate for another day.
Yeah. I don't think so, actually. No.
I think we'll be good. Once it's done, it's good.
No, because I would have told you. Straight up, I would have said, no.
Don't scrape it.
Yeah.
It had good bones.
Yeah,
and we had already done the upstairs. I mean,
it's like, well, we can't hold that up. And then
but your team came in and they knew their stuff. And I think our house had a lot of moments.
It was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we were having earthquakes.
A lot of head scratchers of like, oh.
Yeah. But we were having earthquakes, which were cracking because they hadn't built it right. You remember the wood?
Yes.
And so there was this point where you're like, wait a minute.
Remember the beam that was?
There's four beams that are incorrectly done. And so the weight of that tile roof.
I'm surprised it just
didn't collapse.
Right.
Right. So
it's crazy
when we removed that fireplace and we were vulnerable for quite a few weeks, but your team came in and they supported it as best they could. They put them in where they needed them. And, there was some moments where we're like, let's get this, like, let's move to the next step where we're a little more secure.
Right.
And,
it's scary.
Super scary. Because we're like, if this falls,
Right. Then what?
Then what? We're really in a space. Yeah.
But they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So you remodeled your kitchen by yourself, and I'm sure it was lovely. I didn't know you then.
No.
But I'm sure you did a great job. But what led you to have a designer for this project?
Oh, way out of my depth.
Okay.
Not even anything close. I had sat down when we first moved into the house because we knew these walls that were in the house were not its friends. Like this house has the potential. It has a beautiful pool in the front and a beautiful backyard. And what was standing in the middle of keeping to see the two were walls, a kitchen in the middle with lots of walls. And the beauty of this home, again, is it's outdoors. We have a beautiful piece of land, right? So I understood that in order for us to design this house, those walls would have to be gone. And I sat down when I first moved in and started sketching like ideas. And I think my ideas were just underachieving, it got the idea, but I just didn't have the real world experience to really do it justice. And then the idea of taking out walls and that was again above my pay grade.
Overwhelming.
Yeah. I'm not in.
Wasn't even something you were willing to tackle.
No. Like this was, I mean, that other one was 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Or 10 years or whatever. Like it's two different worlds. And this one, we knew if we were going to stay, it was going to be major. We really wanted this. This home is got a great potential. It just needed
and you
refresh.
Couldn't see it.
We could see what we had an idea.
Yeah.
But we had no idea how to get there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's, it needed someone professional for sure.
Yeah. And how did I help you to make it less overwhelming, less daunting?
You just handled it. You came in and you took the thought process out of, you've seen enough and know how places function to be able to say, here's your layout, here's your square footage, here's how your square footage is currently if we get rid of all of these walls, and here's all the things and how they can go in their different ways. You gave us quite a few options that we moved around, and you just, you've seen it, you know how it works. We All we know is our home, and we know what we want to do with it, but we didn't know how to get what we wanted out of it. For sure. So we had to hire someone that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no way that you could make these choices. No. It's overwhelming.
And we didn't have the trades. Like, I don't have the tradespeople.
Yeah.
Like, you have to. A design of this level, unless you are trained and skilled in it, you have to have someone to come in, because first off, even if you're a person who, let's say you enjoy doing design, maybe someone does the design, you don't have the tradespeople, and you don't have the relationships with the trades, and who's going to come
city and getting the plans through, and the structural engineer. Yeah. It's a lot.
In the day-to-day life, I mean, even though we're doing this remodel, like, I'm strapped, my husband's strapped. So imagine if we were completely doing it from
right. You
can't. It's a full-time job.
Yep.
Yeah. And so hiring you was the best thing we ever did.
Oh,
best thing.
So sweet.
I know. And when I'm sitting in my home a year from now and it's all done,
yes,
it
shouldn't be long. No. I mean, it really won't be that much longer.
Yeah.
But we're doing it right.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about you. You understand that it's a process.
It's a process.
It's going to take time. And in the history of 22 years, you're the first client that isn't going, when's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? Lindsay, like, this should be done faster.
Yeah.
And you understand that it takes what it takes. You're doing it right. And that's like you're the perfect client, because you get it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to explain it to you.
Yeah.
And you understand that we're all in this as a team together, and it's like one big family, and we've got you.
Yeah.
And we want you to have the best product at the end, which is the goal.
Yeah.
And being able to open that front door and see through to the backyard. I mean, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing.
I used to get stuck in the kitchen. We had this weird hibachi shaped kitchen.
I know. That was interesting.
And then you'd have to go to the laundry room or one of the sliders out to get to the backyard. And so if the kids were in the pool, I couldn't be in the kitchen.
Couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And when they're younger, it's a safety thing.
Yeah,
as a mom, like, you can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the party would be out in the front pool, and I'd be hanging out in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Just working away. Or if people in the backyard, so now, like, if you sit in the backyard, you can see to the front. If you go to the front, you can see to the back, and you'll see the whole house.
Yeah. So as we're building it at the point we're at, what is overwhelming for you now?
I would say the summer was overwhelming. Just the structural. The structural was overwhelming. Obviously, the plumbing portion of it is just dirty and daunting. I feel sorry for those guys. They just are in there with jackhammers on that concrete. Right. And I just can't even believe that's how plumbing happens. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like,
it's interesting.
Yeah. But that's just how they did it back then. And so what's daunting right now, I would say we're in a pretty decent space. You've been giving us.
I think so.
Yeah. I think you've been, we've kind of made most of the decisions, most of the big ones. We've purchased the doors. The doors were hard to get kind of designed and measured proper. I will say, note to self, definitely make sure they're broken out before you ever measure them, because we would have ended up with, if we'd have bought them when we were, we would have been in big trouble.
Wrong measure.
We would have been out the money for the doors.
That would have been a bummer.
Yeah. So, take your time on that. Always, that would be my advice for people. Take your time on the big things that you have to measure, and just wait till things are open and you can measure it properly and do it in the right order. But overwhelming right now, I would say things are starting to, we've made a good chunk of the major decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. So
now it's just rolling
it out, getting the hardware picked out, doing the next step.
We do have a few decisions left, but I think when we do them in small doses, everybody wins.
Yeah, I think you're really good. Like, you'll give us the mood boards, and the mood boards will have what you're thinking on them from, like, all of it.
Yeah.
And we just take a look at what we can take on today. And I think we've asked you, is this important for us to make decisions today on? And you've said no, but you let it marinate with us a little bit.
Yes.
And then we come, and then it's like, you let me know when it's important, and we start to, like, focus in on that. So you give us the whole project, and then, but you say, I just need you to focus on this today. And then we focus on that, and then we kind of move to the next thing.
Yes. Yeah. And I kind of just navigate you.
Yeah.
And tell you, okay, we don't need to worry about that. But overall, you kind of have known, what's interesting about your project is you've known the whole scale.
Yes.
Of the project.
Yeah. I mean,
from scope of work to budget to everything. but you've known exactly what it's going to look like since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Which you had that. And that's what you said. I want a strategy for the whole house. We're working on the master first.
Yeah.
And that's been great because it's almost like you have this goal.
Yes.
And that's kind of like by design. You have this goal, you know where you're going to get, and you can make decisions, the little or smaller decisions.
Yeah.
And then ultimately you'll get there.
Yes.
And you have the luxury of time, which is huge.
We do. We do. We're very fortunate that, we're not in a rush to get back in. Yeah. And we want to give you your space to make it perfect, because we know this is like, at least for the next 10 years, this is, where we're going to finish raising our children. We want the memories of, my son's in high school. We want him to come with his friends. We want it to be the house that he and his friends hang out at. And our daughter, when she, gets older, and then all the friends on the street. My favorite thing about my street is anytime I go somewhere and I come back home, I'll find extra sets of flip-flops in my front yard. And that shows me that like I have some of the neighborhood kids hanging out, and I walk in and I hear the piano playing and I know it's our neighbor. And I mean, I know that this is going to be a house that's, built with love, and it's going to be filled with love, until, at least for my kids, and then be able to hand it to them at some point in their life if they want it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So special.
Yeah. It is really special.
It has been a joy working with you. You guys, you get it.
Okay.
And so that's been a light in my, there's so many times where it's like, oh, I have to explain this, or, oh, I need them to really understand the fact that this is going to take a minute.
Yeah.
They need to, some people don't get it because everybody wants it like yesterday.
Yeah.
But you guys are really doing it well, and you are having fun with it. I mean, I feel like it's fun. Like I see you and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like we have a good time.
My husband may say something different, but no, he's, the funny thing is he complains so much, but I actually think inside
he likes
it. I mean, he would love to do it. He actually would be good doing it full time.
He would be really good.
But he has a real...
We would be a good team. Yeah. What are we doing next?
Yeah, but he has a good, maybe go into business on a side business.
Yeah,
later.
right? Yeah, he's got a great eye, and he knows exactly. And he's very practical and pragmatic.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how my mind works. So I feel like we're kind of a lot alike in that way. And you're always the voice of reason. Oh, remember now? And we're like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like a SWOT analysis. We're taking all the best of each of us and giving you what you want.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean,
me too.
I could see that we're starting to get to the point where we're going to start doing like the twister thing. Like,
and you're going to see it. You're going to finally see it elevated. You're going to finally see from the drawing to the
building.
Yeah. And was that helpful seeing all the drawings?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like floor. At first, it was kind of like, oh, this is this and this is. But now you guys are very adept at reading plans and elevations and knowing how to read them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, it's helped a lot.
It's an education.
It's a huge education. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on the ride.
Yes. I mean, thank you for I feel safe. I feel safe on your bus.
I love it. Hop on.
Yeah, hop on. I'm like, I don't want to drive the bus. I just want to sit in the back.
I just want to sit there and look at the pretty things.
Yeah, I just want to look out the windows. And
I'll have this tile.
Yeah.
I love this wood.
Like, what do you think, Lindsay?
I know. What did Lindsay say? Right? Is that what you say?
Yeah, he'd always say, I want your opinion. I said, my opinion is I like Lindsay. My opinion is Lindsay's good at what she does.
So cute. Well, thank you, Dana.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And thanks for we can't thank you enough. Like, you're just a blessing.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I can't say it enough. I'm very grateful that you are creating my home and giving me a space that I'm going to come to every day and lay my head down, and my kids will be there as well. So, okay.
Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to find more about me or my services, check out my website at luludesigns.com.